Behind me are Castle Cliffs, otherwise known as Castle Mountain, here in Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada. I wasn't planning to come this way, but after thinking about it, I realized that coming back a different way would probably be a little bit more interesting. So I decided to add a little time to my trip and take a different route home. And so here I am. So when I left Prince Rupert the other day, I kept going east, 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 and I passed up Prince George where I would have turned south otherwise, continued east past Prince George. Campsite last night, I got in 11, fell asleep at like 1, fighting off mosquitoes, left like 4 in the morning, didn't even set up my tent. So I was a little bit tired this morning, but that was all right. I pushed my way on, stopped in McBride. I thought McBride was a fantastic place. What a great setting. Crystal clear skies, giant mountains, snow on top, and a nice flat valley, big plains down at the bottom. I really liked McBride. Then I roll into Jasper, and Jasper is a cool place. It is definitely a tourist mecca. There were tourists everywhere, but it is in a beautiful setting. And Jasper is its own national park. It's connected here with Banff National Park. It's all one large park, all connected. And you have to pay to get in, but it's definitely worth it. It was like $10. And so I got in. And pardon me, I'm fighting off mosquitoes at the same time. They're pretty bad here. So after just doing a drive-by in Jasper, I went down and drove south and took some video because they call it the Icefield Road. There's this road that runs right through where the glacier swept, and it carved out a path, and it's really interesting to see just what happened. You could see where the ice would have been and where it scratched, and the road just goes right through it. It's a very easy road. It's smooth, very few turns, and really nice road. Then I ran into a little bit of a crisis when I was on the road, an unexpected crisis on my bike, and that was almost running out of fuel. I had saw a sign that said 200 kilometers to the next fuel stop, and I looked at my thing, and seemed like it was going to be fine. So I kept going and going and going, and then I see my fuel gauge is getting lower and lower and lower, and like, where is that gas stop? And I realized that I must have passed it because there was, it had been more than 200 kilometers, but I guess I was engrossed in the scenery and just enjoying the ride. And so I stopped and looked at my map, and yeah, what do you know? It looks like I passed the gas stop, and the next one is still like 76 kilometers forward. So that was a little bit unsettling. So I'm down now to one little bar on my fuel gauge, and I'm creeping along at like 45 miles an hour, trying to keep the RPMs as low as possible, edging down the road, keeping as fuel efficient as possible. And I can't say I enjoyed that part of the ride because the whole time, I'm just looking at the RPMs, I'm looking at the gas gauge, I'm calculating in my head how many more I gotta go, trying to figure out what I do if I run out of gas. I realized it ultimately wouldn't have been that big a deal because there's tourists all over the place, and I had a siphon, I had cash on me, so it wouldn't have been that big a deal if I did run out of gas, but it would have been embarrassing more than anything. But anyway, I barely made it all the way into Lake Louise, which is another big town here along this stretch of parks, and it's kind of between Jasper and Banff. And got in, got my gas, had lunch. That felt pretty good. And then I started feeling pretty tired after last night because I got in like 11. I didn't lie down till like 11:45, and then I was fighting off mosquitoes until 1, and then waking up constantly, and then I woke up at like 4. So I started to realize, you know what, I should probably stay put. I don't really want to put in many more miles today. So I just hopped on the bike, rode a little ways down, and now I'm actually in Banff, and the camping is not so hot out here. Kind of like Yosemite. We were just to show up at Yosemite Valley in the middle of summer and just see what's available. You're not going to find anything very private. There's people everywhere. So anyway, I got a site in a common campground, and I'm surrounded by people. But that's the way it goes. That's all right. I have a place to lay out my tent tonight, so I actually laid down and got a nap. And that was pretty nice because I needed the nap, and I watched the mosquitoes hover around the outside of the tent rather than fighting them off like this when I was in my sleeping bag. So I woke up and took a little ride down the road, and here it is, Castle Mountain. My campground is this away, just a little ways, and there's so much to do here. I mean, this just extends miles and miles and miles, and I actually regret that I wasn't able to spend more time at Jasper because so far the scenery has been more spectacular up there, but I still have miles to go down into Banff. I would definitely come back here. This is definitely a place that's worth checking out. There's so much to do. Very impressive mountain scenery. Future, just top off with gas. Just top off. It's easy to do, and it might be a hassle, but to make the extra stop, but it's worth it. Just stop and get the extra gas.